Why does the sun come up, Les? Like, why do you think the sun comes up?
The sun comes up every single day.
Why, though?
Because God wanted to. That's why.
Why does the sun come up, Les? Like, why do you think the sun comes up?
The sun comes up every single day.
Why, though?
Because God wanted to. That's why.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. So this video of Beetlejuice, you can see they asked him like the question I was asking him, why does the sun come up every single why does the sun come up? You see the first answer he gave, we're going to just break it down. It's going to be a really short video. I think this is proving occasionalism, of course. Remember, it's all about God's will. That's the Asherite theory of occasionalism. God's will, God's will, God's will, right? Whatever God wills, that's what's going to happen. If God doesn't will something, it's not going to happen. So when we want to ask the why of anything, ultimately, it has to go back to God, right? So you see the question I asked, why does the sun come up every single day? Why does the sun come up? You see, the first answer Beetlejuice gave was that because it does every single day. You see, that first answer is appealing to like experience. That something happens just because we've constantly observed it so many times that that's a why. If you ask me why, it's like it does happen every day. But that's not the question I pushed further. And it's like, but why that? Why though? And then he said, because God wants it to. God's will. This is so true, because that is actually the only answer you can give here. That is God's will. And it ends there. It ends at God's will. That's the whole point. Occasionalism right there. You cannot ask, why did God will that? Because God wants it. Okay, divine voluntarist view is saying that everything goes back to God's will. You cannot explain anything outside of God's will. So you cannot explain why the sun is revolving around or all those things that the scientists, that is like the scientist or the teleologist view. But ultimately, if you want to know why something really, really happens, it has to go back to God. Okay, it has to go back to God. And that's what I think Beetlejuice just taught us here. It's all about God's will. If someone asks you why something, you have to say it is by God. If you see people moving, walking around, it is not by their power. It is by God's will. Do you understand? It's not, nothing can happen except by God's will. That's the lesson we take from this. This is another proof of occasionalism. And many of you might not actually understand it, but most of you will agree with God's will or what he said there. It's God's will. But you don't really internalize it the way that will lead you to understand that every single act of yours, every single moment in your existence is dependent on God. You would want to like kind of think that you are in there doing something too, that you can cause something efficacious, like a causation or something like that. You see the first answer Beetlejuice actually gave, where he said that because it happens every single day, that is appealing to experience. You cannot derive causation from that. David Hume already pointed that out. You cannot derive causation from observing things constantly. Okay? You cannot derive causation from experience. Right? You cannot. So all you will get is correlation. That I always see this thing happen every single day. What if the next day it doesn't happen anymore? You see? That's all you need to like know, that you cannot derive causation. What if anything happens is equally conceivable that it could have been another way? Therefore, it's not necessary. And if it's not necessary, then you cannot derive causation from it. But anyway, and the second answer, that when you now push it further, you have to end it at God. That's our foundation. Unless you don't want to have foundation and you go into an infinite regress, we have a foundation. We stop at God. Some people stop at nature. You see the same answer. Some people will say, it's nature. That's it. They don't believe in God. We will believe in God. So we have to say it is God, ultimately, that allows every single in existence to exist in the first place, to continue to exist. For them to do any act, it has to be God that wills it into existence. Anyway, let me see what you guys think in the comment section. See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Why does the sun come up, Les? Like, why do you think the sun comes up?
The sun comes up every single day.
Why though?
Because God wanted to. That's why.